We mentioned the conscious mind is different than the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is what you think with. The subconscious has no ability to think. It just accepts whatever you give to it. And you could say the subconscious mind is immoral. It's like the earth. It doesn't care what you plant, but it'll grow it. I think I mentioned, Nightingale said it very well in this Strangest Secret record. He said, you can plant nightshade, a deadly poison, and not a 16th of an inch away plant corn, a sweet food. One will grow with just as great an abundance as the other. That's like it is in the subconscious mind. You can plant a creative idea, it'll grow. You can plant a very negative idea, it'll grow just as easy. Now, the conscious mind reasons, it's like it reasons inductively and deductively. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, there's two parts to your conscious mind. They're not actually two parts like that, but when one's working, the other one's not. When your inductive reasoning factor is working, that is when you're thinking. That is when you're paying attention to what the hell's going on around you. If you're not thinking, your subconscious mind is wide open. And somebody can say something and bang, just like that, your feelings are hurt. You move into a bad way. Your perception could be wrong. You may think they're thinking something, and that thought, because just the expression on their face or a gesture or something, and a negative goes right into the subconscious because there's no filter. You're not thinking. If you were thinking, you would probably reject the thought, but you're not thinking, so it goes right to the subconscious mind. You see, the inductive reasoning factor is the thinker. Now, if a person were to hypnotize you, what they do is they cause your inductive reasoning factor to go dormant. And you can do that fairly easy. You do it through fascination, agreement, or shock. You just set their reasoning factor aside. And then you're going right to their subconscious mind. The subconscious is totally deductive. It has no ability to think. It has no ability to choose. You could plant the most ridiculous concept in the subconscious mind, it'll accept it. The more we look at this and think about it, I think the more we'll pay attention to what the hell we are playing with our mind, what we are thinking. Now, the truth is, most people don't think. They're wandering around with their mind wide open almost all the time. That's how television works, or the advertising works. A person will be sitting watching television. They're not thinking. They're in a totally deductive state. Their subconscious mind is wide open, and they're just firing stuff right in. That's where the commercials sip right into the subconscious. Look at inductive reasoning is where we pick thoughts and we arrive at an idea. That is inductive reasoning. Think of it again. Here. We take individual thoughts and we pull them together and we build an idea. That is thinking. Deductive reasoning is you start out with the idea and then just carry it out to all its parts. You're sitting there and you'll think, go home. What do you have to do? You have to get up, you have to find the keys to the car, you have to find the car, you got to start the car, you got to drive the car. All the different parts will be executed. No thought given to it, it's automatic. Now, when that's not working, there's the way you are. So it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Now think about this for a moment. When an idea goes into your subconscious mind, that controls the vibration you're in. If your mind's wide open and somebody fires a negative idea, and instantly you start feeling bad. Feeling, conscious awareness of vibration. When you feel bad, you're in a negative vibration. When you feel good, you're in a positive vibration. Now, some people, when they're feeling bad, they're trying to figure, I wonder what's the matter, what's causing this? Why do I feel this way? Because you're not thinking, and you've got some crap going into your subconscious mind. Now, if you were to stop and say, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the gratitude exercise. And if you start to do that, instantly you'll start to move into a better vibration. We can do it real fast. Now, you could get to the point where you form the habit of doing the gratitude exercise when you're feeling bad. If I'm talking to somebody and they're having a lot of problems, I say, why don't you just sit down and think of what you're grateful for? And if they know me real well, they might do it because they know that it does make sense. But most people don't do that. So that's the way your mind is when you're not thinking. And anything you win. That's the way your mind is when you're born. And whatever the parents put in, or the guardian, or the whoever it is that surrounds you, whatever's going on in their mind is going right into your mind. You might wonder why you're like you are. That's probably why. I don't think people consciously and deliberately choose to screw themselves up. I really don't. I don't think we sit down and say, let's see, how can I really make a mess of the day? You know? How can I get that I'm going to feel bad most of the time? How can I get that I'm just not a nice person? Now, there's people like that, and you know they're like that, but I don't think they sit and decide to be like that. I think they're programmed to be that way. I think the program's genetic and environmental, but it's not an accident. They're literally programmed to be. They've been surrounded by people like that in their little life. This, like, we don't spend a long time on this. We could spend a lot of time on it, but we don't. It gets a little complicated. If you just keep in mind, that's where you are when you're not thinking. That's where you are. Wait a minute, back that up. That's where you are when you're born. And that's also the way you are if you're not thinking, because if you're not thinking, the inductive reasoning factor is shut down. That leaves your mind wide open. When you're not thinking, that's the way you are right there. And it doesn't matter what comes along, it's going right in. When you're watching TV, you watch a story. The story is designed to get your conscious attention. And they will place a commercial at a critical point in the story. The guy's got the gun and he's pointed it right at the person's head, and you know, there's a nice big black car in front of you. And that happens not once. They don't buy one commercial. They buy a flight of commercials. So boom, boom, boom. And they do it fairly often. And then a person finds himself wandering around the showroom. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Somebody come over, could I help you? I always feel like saying, no, but you could help yourself, you dummy. You see, they've spent millions getting him in the showroom. And the salesperson, hi, can I help you? I don't think they have any idea the amount of money and the thought that has gone into getting that person in that showroom. Or you're in the store and you get a little kid with you, and the kid goes over and pulls something off the shelf. You try and get it back on the shelf. Kid will start screaming. Everybody will think you're beating the kid up or something. And you'll finally say, okay, leave it. Why is the kid taken off the shelf? Because the idea has been planted in their subconscious mind. And it's not been put in one, it's been in over and over and over again. And the idea is in there, so when the kid sees it, it's just automatic. It's an automatic action. Well, that's all advertising, and that's the way they attempt to hit your mind. And they shut down your inductive reasoning factor through fascination, agreement, or shock. Well, agreement and fascination is the way it's done. Sometimes it's shock, but mostly it's agreement and fascination. They get you so fascinated with the story, your mind's wide open. So you might think of that because that's the way it works. That's the way the kid is. Okay, now, turn over to, this lesson is very important. On page 35. We should have made those black lines white. Anyway, you see the stick person there. There's power flowing into the conscious mind, and you think, you build ideas. That idea is turned over to the subconscious. It causes feeling and moves us into action. Now, what happens here? There's a person living in an ignorant state. Another person, we're jumping ahead here. These things are not set right. Hold on a minute. There you go. Understand, nothing is positive or negative except our thinking makes it so. What's positive to one person could be negative to another. What's a lot to one person may be a little to another. It's like Peggy McCall phoned me one time, and she said she and Denny were looking at a house, but it was $1 million more than they wanted to pay for it. I said, well, make the $1 million look small. She said, what? I said, make the $1 million look small. God, it was only a few hours later, I get an email from her, and it's a book cover, Make $1 Million Look Small. Then she called later on, and who the hell? I forgot who she had. She said, why don't we do a seminar? Oh, we'll get Gay Hendricks, Mary Morrissey, yourself, and myself, and we'll teach a seminar how to make $1 million look small. I said, that's a good idea. And we earned $1 million on that seminar. It all started with just a thought. But the point is that $1 million's not big, and it's not small. It's just $1 million. Now, to some people, it would be huge. To other people, it would be chump change. There would be people delegate $1 million decisions somebody down the line. Let's get it right. Nothing's big, nothing's small. Nothing's good, nothing's bad, except our thinking makes it so. What to one person is terrible, to another person, they don't think much of it. Now look, there's a power flowing into your consciousness all the time. And you can build images out of that power. There's a choice. You can build negative or positive images. You can build the negative, and some people do build the negative, And they build them because they're in the habit of doing it. It's not that they like it, they're in the habit. If you get them to stop and talk to them about it, they would not do it. They're not doing it deliberately. It's a habit. It's just the way they look at life. Other people look at it positive. Now, you've got a choice. On one side is ignorance, on the other side is knowledge. Why would people do it on the negative side? Because they're ignorant, they don't know. Now, when I was a kid, I was taught to use ignorant the wrong way. If a person was rude, we said they were ignorant. Not everybody's rude, but everyone is ignorant. I'm ignorant when it comes to baking a pie. I intend to stay that way. I'm ignorant when it comes to tuning up a car. I intend to stay that way. There's all kinds of things that I don't understand, and I have no intentions of changing that. But there's some things I want to learn all I can about. Now think. An individual is attempting to do something. And if they're being controlled by things that are something that's going on outside of them, there's going to be trouble in River City. There really will. They don't have enough money to do something. What do? Instantly, they start thinking the wrong way, and they start to worry and doubt. Worry and doubt is a negative way of thinking. Just because you don't know how to do something, just because you don't have it, doesn't mean you have to worry about it or you have to doubt it. If you want something, you have no idea how to do it, you can think, well, hell, I can figure anything out. I'll figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I'll get somebody to help me. If we can learn to look at problems as opportunities, because that's what they are. Problems are nothing but opportunities, all dressed up in disguise. Okay? Now, when a person worries and doubts, they don't just sit there and keep it in their conscious mind. Their mind is moving at warp speed. Remember we were talking about the central nervous system? It's the most complex electrical system known to us. So everything's happening at warp speed. When you're worrying, instantly you get emotionally involved, and it turns into fear. Now you notice, don't sit there like that. The fear is expressed through this instrument. Whatever's impressed upon the subconscious mind is expressed through the body. And that fear turns into anxiety. I used to watch Larry King all the time. And every now and then, Larry King would have Mike Wallace on. Who's gone now, but I liked Mike Wallace. God, he was a tough guy. And remember when he was on 60 Minutes? Man, he would just beat the hell out of people. He would sit and look you right in the eye and ask you the toughest questions. Well, he had Mike Wallace on a lot, talking about depression. And it was obvious neither one of them knew what it meant, or what it was, or how it was caused. And depression's a big problem in a lot of areas, and people live in ignorance. They don't know what's causing it, and so they can't eliminate it. I'll try to show you exactly what causes depression. When you start doubting or worrying about anything, it doesn't matter what it is, yet you get emotionally involved, you're setting up a vibration called fear. That automatically expressed in this instrument, our body, and we call that anxiety. Now, you usually put some Valium or some damn thing in. That anxiety is not expressed, it's suppressed. People don't express anxiety, they suppress the anxiety. And the suppression turns into depression. That's what happens. They get the wrong thinking, they're full of fear, causes anxiety, we suppress it. Before long, we're in a hell of a state. And we brought it on ourselves. Can a person change that? They can change it almost overnight. I think the best way to change a paradigm is with a recording. Make a recording and just keep listening. I mean, you can make your own recording. I make them often for people. And just keep listening to it. Now, when you first do it, you're not in the habit of listening to it, so you got to get in the habit, so you got to discipline yourself. You give yourself a command and follow it. You can lose weight with it. You can change sickness to health. You can change poverty to wealth. With the recording. If you just played it in the car when you're alone, you don't necessarily play it when somebody else is there because they didn't ask to listen to it. But if you play it when you're alone, but you play it over and over and over, play that thing until you're sick of listening to it, and then play it some more. Just keep playing it. What you're doing is you're putting the new idea in the subconscious mind. If you have a problem in your body, it's originating in the mind. You see people, I'm going to lose weight. No, really. What do you do when you lose your keys? You instantly start looking for the damn things. That's what happens when you lose 5 pounds. You instantly start looking for it. And you usually find 7 of them. You see? I think you're getting the idea. Well, we've got to spend some time understanding this. Depression turns to disease. A body that's not at ease. Mass and molecule, it's not at ease. Disease. The disease turns to disintegration. That's why St. Clair Lewis said we don't die, we kill ourselves. We're just performing suicide at such a slow rate, we don't recognize what we're doing. We literally kill ourselves. Now, if a person's doing that, they may be doing it and not understand what they're doing. They could be in the habit of doing that. Think about it. What's the answer? Well, I don't think people consciously and deliberately understand and start doubting and worrying and causing a fear. It's ignorance that causes the problem. So let's think about it. What's the opposite of doubt and worry? Understanding. What do we want to understand? Well, let's understand that we're choosing to turn this power that's flowing into our consciousness, we're choosing to give it direction. You give it direction through your thinking. And if you're thinking doubt and worry, stop it. You say, I don't know how to stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. If you have to carry a note around that you write to yourself in your hand, write the note, carry the damn thing in your hand. Do the dumbest thing you can think of if it'll cause you to keep thinking of it. What do we want to understand? We want to understand there's a law called polarity. That law decrees that everything has an opposite. There'd be no inside this room if there wasn't an outside to the room. You got to have one to have the other. If there's something wrong, there's something right too. Michael Beckwith gave us a beautiful answer. When anything happens, doesn't matter what it is what it is, accept it. It is what it is, accept it. It's either going to control you or you're going to control it. Not a bad idea, is it? It is what it is, accept it. There's a 3-step approach to this. Second step, harvest the good. You accept what happened. Harvest the good. There's good in everything. If you look for it, you're going to find it. And the third step is forgive all the rest. Forgive means let go of, completely abandon. So when something happens, instead of worrying or doubting, it is what it is. Accept it. I was mentioning yesterday that I had something that happened to me that I didn't particularly like. And Sandy was in the East Coast or some damn place, and she said, what happened that you didn't like? And I said, where did you hear that? I said, no, nothing. No, she said, something happened. What happened? Well, I said, I lost some money. I lost $5,000. She said, how'd you lose it? I said, I don't know. I just lost it. I had $5,000 and I lost it. And it started to bother me. But it only bothered me for about 5 or 10 minutes. And I thought, wait a minute, this is so stupid. Wherever that money is, that's where it's supposed to be. Now, no, really, if that's wherever it is, that's where it's supposed to be. It's where it's supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to have it, or they were supposed to get it, or whatever the hell happened. I'm not going to let this bother me. I was reacting right away. I thought, screw it. I hope they get good use out of it. Now, geez, a long time ago I wouldn't have done that. I would still be upset. I'd probably still be in my room crying a long time ago. But I don't do that anymore. Now, how did I change that? I changed it through understanding. The money's gone. It's gone. The hell. Let it go. Who cares? There's more where it came from. There is. Once you know where it is, you just go and get it. Now look it. You've got to understand this whole universe operates by law. That means everything happens an exact way. I see the law as God's modus operandi. It's how, when the tide goes out, it always comes back in. Winter never follows winter. Now, I live in Toronto, and sometimes you'd swear to God that winter does follow winter. But it doesn't. It does not. Now think. Everything operates, your law is governed by law. And we were talking about not understanding our higher faculties, perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, intuition. Why wouldn't we teach that to a little kid? Well, because we don't know it. That's why we don't teach it to them. It's not taught in school. I remember asking Sandy to ask her dad. Her dad was a very wise man, and he's gone now, but I said, ask him a question about perception. See if he knows it's an intellectual factor. He didn't know. He was a smart guy. Built very successful business, had a lot of money, but he didn't understand that. He had never learned. He'd been through law school, all kinds of school. They never taught him that. You've been to school, some of you. Were you taught your higher faculties? You weren't taught that. You were taught, you look at this, here's your report card. And so you're governed by a damn report card. You see? Let's understand there's two sides to everything. Now, the truth is, there isn't really. Everything just is. It just is, and then we make it what it is. But it just is. Nothing's bad, nothing's good. Everything just is. There's only two sources of reference to go to. One's theology and one's science. There isn't any place else to go. I always say, go to the theologian, not the guy with the Roman collar or something like that, or just the rabbi, a theologian, and ask him, what's God? They'll say, God is. God is what? Now, you see, when I was a little kid, I went to a Presbyterian Sunday school, and they said, that's God there. And there's a picture of a guy on a wall with a beard. And then they were telling me, and God's everywhere. I said, how in the hell could he be everywhere? He's on the wall. I'm just a kid. What do I know? No, he's 100% evenly present, all places at the same time. Is it any wonder we grow up confused? Where's God? Everywhere? Really? Can you see how confused? And then we talk about law, but the truth is we don't talk about the law. Nobody understands laws. Now, Dr. Wernher von Braun, he pointed out that the natural laws of this universe are so precise that we don't have any difficulty sending a picture or sending a rocket to the moon, and we can time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. Now, this is one of the top scientists that ever lived. He's gone now, God bless him, but he said after years of studying the spectacular mysteries of the cosmos, he was led into a firm belief in the existence of God. He's a scientist. Should cause you to think. At any rate, we've got to start to understand, well, one of the laws is the law of polarity. There'd be no inside of this room if there wasn't an outside of the room. There's a positive and a negative. Now, we can choose to make anything one or the other. Well, we've gone down this side, and we see what we get. I don't think there's much, I don't like the compensation there. It just doesn't, it's tasteful. I think I'll go over on the other side. How do you get understanding? There's only one way. There's only one way to get understanding. No other. Just one way. Now listen. The only way to develop understanding is through study. There is you can't inherit it. You can't buy it. It doesn't come packaged for you. You've got to study. And most people, when they finish school, they'll say, thank God that's over. I'm never going to open another book as long as I live. When I started to understand this, I said, I'm going to study every day till I die. And I study every day. I will take one page. In fact, I have 3 pages and a paragraph. I sent you the page. Did you read it yet? It's good, isn't it? God, is it ever good. I've been reading that every day. I had it double-spaced to make it easier to read. I've been reading that every day now for a couple of months. There's only 3 pages and a couple of lines, maybe a quarter of a page. But I've read it every day now for a couple of months. And I just keep reading it over and over and over again. And you say, well, you're stupid. Can't you understand it? Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. But I know every time I read it, it appears to change a little bit. The truth is, it doesn't change, I change. When you read something through the second time, you don't see something in it you didn't see before. You see something in yourself that wasn't there before. Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, what do we want to understand? We want to understand that regardless of what's happening, you might have lost 5K. So what? That happened. Now, you're going to get upset? Yeah, I didn't get upset. But only for a few minutes. I said, to hell with it. I'm not going to let it bother me. Understanding. I had a choice. I was acting like I didn't have a choice. I was acting like I've never studied this. I was acting like I didn't know and didn't know I didn't know. Because I was reacting, but only for a short time. Now, I remember the day when I would have acted, I'd still be upset. But I changed that. Understanding leads to faith. What is faith? Best definition of faith I ever heard. First of all, the best book I ever read on faith was by Robert Russell. God Works Through Faith was the name of the book. The book's out of print, but if you know how to get out of print books, you can probably find it. It's a little book. Robert Russell was a great author. And it's without question the best book on faith I ever read. Faith, I remember I was working with Prudential years and years ago. We were working with everybody in Prudential, the whole company. And I was in Indianapolis, and there was a man there, Clarence Smithson. He was in charge of equal opportunity with Prue. And he was a good guy. I really liked him. And we got talking about faith, the faith we were talking about in the seminar or something. And he said, faith is the ability to see the invisible, to believe in the incredible, and that will permit you to receive what the masses call impossible. I said, what did you just say? God, it sounded so good. He said, faith is the ability to see the invisible. See something no one else can see. The invisible. If you had a problem in your body, you can see your body changing vibration, and you can see the problem just leaving. There's millions of cells that you leave in your body right now anyway. So have those disease cells leave your body. You can build it in your mind. See the invisible. Nobody else can see it, but you see it in your mind. You just see it leaving. Believe in the incredible. What's incredible? What's incredible is that there's a power within you that'll take any idea you give to it and move it into action. Your subconscious mind is a universal mind. Universal mind operates by law. Absolute law. Whatever you plant will get expressed. No question about it. That's just the way it is. It's like the earth. Plant the seed, grows. You think, wow. They go to bed, they have sex, and 10 months later, whoop! How the hell did we ever figure out that one was connected to the other? One's sort of a lot of fun, and the other is, wow, a baby's born. Do you know there was a time when they never connected the two? And you can understand why they wouldn't. I mean, they're so totally different in nature and so far apart. Let's understand everything operates by law. When the seed's planted, it grows. By law of attraction, because of the vibration. We've got to start to understand this. Faith is the ability to see the invisible, believe in the incredible, and that will permit us to receive what the Masters call impossible. That's right. I'll do a thing on decision that'll probably blow somebody's mind. People make decisions when they know how it's going to happen, when they know where it's coming from. You know, they need a lot of money and they can't make the decision until they get the money. Like I tell the story in the Born Rich book about a couple, they wanted to buy a house, and I said, go buy the damn house. They said, we can't buy a house, we haven't got any money. I said, you don't need any money. They looked at me and said, what do you mean we don't need any money? I said, you never made a decision to buy the house. What do you need the money for? Oh, yeah. See, when you make a decision, a committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that it has to be on to attract what you have to attract. Everything's already here. You don't get anything, you've already got it. You just become aware that you got it. Well, you've got to get on the frequency of the good that you desire, or you're never going to attract it. Never. You see, if I phone Robert Pescuzzi's number, I am not going to get your phone. Never. I'll never get you on the phone if I'm phoning his number. Well, if you stay on the frequency you're on, you're never going to get what you need to manifest your goal. That's why Goethe, the German philosopher, he said, before you can do something, you got to be it, baby. You got to be it now. Oh, yeah. Act like the person you want to become. You see, the part about study, we all want more. God, do we ever want it? And at some time, we want it so much more than others. I'll bet you would love to have that Academy Award, wouldn't you? It would be nice. It would be real nice. Yeah. You see? But you got to pay the price. See, what's the price? You got to raise your consciousness to the level of the good that you desire. See, well, I'm working hard. That's not the answer. I said to my wife the other day, I said, I've never earned more and done less. He said, when money starts coming, it'll come so fast and furious, it'll make your head spin. Let's go, yeah. Hey, listen. We've got to understand that we have awesome powers. We have these higher faculties. And we don't even know they exist, let alone how to use them. I could walk by you in the hall and I know exactly what you're like. I don't even have to wonder what you're like. I know what you're like. Like, Carlos here. Is this your husband? Yes. He's one stubborn sucker, isn't he? Yes. Oh, is he ever? I mean, no, he has got a shy side to him, but he keeps it hidden. You can hurt his feelings pretty easy, but he holds it inside. And he keeps suppressing, and all of a sudden, boom, he'll blow up, and then it's all over. He's got a very tough mind. Yeah. You say, well, I don't even wonder if I'm right. I know I'm right. You know, I could have been talking about you at the same time. You say, well, how do you know that? I just know it. Oh my God. Yeah. Do you want me to tell you some other things or tell the rest of the people? Yes. Yeah, I'd rather not. Yeah. See, I know things like that, and you had to go around with him for a long time to learn that. You didn't after you get married just say, well, I never knew you were never like that before. He was always like that.
You're going to be nervous.
Now, if I can do that, you can do that. Do what? Just walk by a person and you can feel their energy. You know something? You're a lot like him. Uh-oh. You are. You have a very sensitive side to you, but you don't show it very often. You keep it hidden. Yeah. There's about 20% of your personality, maybe 15, not that much, that's very left brain. All the rest of you is, or right brain. All the rest of you is left brain. Very strong mind. You make good engineer, accountant, lawyer. What do you do?
I'm a retired investor.
An retired investor. Yeah, well, you'd be good with numbers and money. Okay? Because you operate in the left hemisphere of your brain. That's what it does. It's very analytical. Well, how do you know these? I can pick up. I know you're a woman. And you are super sensitive. Holy Jesus, you're a lover, Tracy. Yeah. You know, now, here's the deal. A person like Tracy meets a guy like Carlos. Carlos is a slow mover, and she's saying, "Are you ever going to move?" Okay? But Carlos is not a fast mover. He's analyzing the whole situation. She's let's go. Like, come on, let's go. She's a lover, very sensitive, very high energy, and she's saying, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" Mm-hmm. It would be valuable to be able to do that, wouldn't it? You can, but you don't because you've never studied yourself enough. We don't study ourselves. We study everything under the sun. You know more about horse than you do about yourself. Would you agree? It's true. Now think. Understanding leads to faith. See, the more understanding you have, the more you believe in something. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just know it's going to happen. Okay? Faith leads to well-being. Now, do you know well-being is not suppressed like the anxiety. Well-being's expressed. And the expression accelerates. Why? Because you're at ease. There's no dis-ease. You're at ease. You're an excellent channel for spirit to flow to and through. Why is it good to relax in every situation? So the spirit, the energy will just flow right through you. You see? It's such a beautiful thing to understand. Then if we find ourselves getting tight, stop right now. Just stop it. Relax, 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 relax. Well, you got a choice. You see, when you're at ease, it leads to creation. You have a choice. You can go that way or that way. Why would anybody choose that? Well, the truth is, they don't know, but they do choose it. It's an unconscious choice. But they choose it. Wouldn't that be better? You see, when you choose this consciously and deliberately, and you keep doing it, you can get in the habit of doing it. Makes sense? It's so simple and so misunderstood. I love this lesson. What would we say? Most people are extras in their own movie. What do you want? But you know, we gave you this card yesterday with yes box on it. I would find it very interesting if there was some way we could determine how many of you answered it real honestly. Let me say, do you feel at times you're not doing what you should be doing with your life? How many answered yes to that? Hold up your hand. I wouldn't answer yes to that because I am doing exactly what I want to do. I love it. But I'm going to tell you something. It was because I answered yes to that that I changed and did this. You heard Sandy Gallagher up here just a little while ago. She was a very successful securities attorney, earning lots of money, lots of prestige, you know. But I provoked her to think. Think. What you really want. This is your life. And you don't get a second bite at the apple so far as we know. Do you frequently find yourself in a position where you feel stifled, both professionally and financially? How many answered yes to that? Now, wait a minute. We'll just, that's truth serum. Let's try it again. How many answered yes to that? Let me see a show. Yeah, there's a few more, you see. We don't bother holding up our hand. We just sit here like a bump on a log, you know. There's a young lady here, and you're going to hear from her tonight. She's only 23, but she started work with us. And in the last year, which was her first year really, I think she's earned a little over $300,000. Now hold on. There's another lady here who's quite a bit older than this one. The one I'm telling about was 23. The other lady is a little older than that. I'm not sure what her age is, but from the 1st of November to the 1st of January, she had earned $200,000-300,000. Now, you know, you'd say, well, how do you do that? You provide $200 or $300 worth of service. Money is a reward received for service rendered. The more service you provide, the more money you're going to earn. We're going to put on a meeting from 6:30 to 7:30. Only if you're interested in finding out how to answer these questions the way you want to answer them, or to do what you want to do, you'll be here at 6:30. And we're going to start writing the money at 6:30. And it'll be over by 7:30. And we're going to show you something. When I saw it, I was earning over $1 million a year. And when I saw it like that, I moved on it. And for me to move on it, I had to do a lot of things different. I had to sell a company. I had to move my family. I had to get a green card. I mean, you talk about problems. I had block walls in front of me, but I went through them because I wanted what I wanted. Now, let's take a look at this. Results. I want you to think of your results. And it could be in any area of your life. How did they happen? Do they just happen? I don't think so. Take a close look at your results. A real close look at your results. It all has to do with awareness. Let these lines represent levels of awareness. Some people have a very high level of awareness, some have a very low level of awareness. When you see a person sleeping under a bunch of cardboard on the side of the street where it's below zero and possibly outside, you'll say, well, they're not very bright. They might have a master's degree in commerce and finance. They might be very bright, but they're not very aware. There's a difference. There's A and B. Okay? What role does awareness play in our results? Well, let's think about it. There's a little baby. Now, I spent some time on the fire department in Toronto. So I went to a few fires. And I got to know something about that. That baby is not aware of the dangers of fire. The very first call I went on, was on New Year's Eve in the middle of the night. There was a woman sleeping on the 3rd floor of a house. There were 2 rooms. One was a bedroom, the other was a kitchen. And she had a little boy. And the little boy slept with her. Very early, around in the middle of the night actually, the little boy woke up and got up. And if she noticed he did, she probably didn't. He's not going to go anywhere. And so he went to the kitchen. They had a big walk-in cupboard in the kitchen. The little boy got in there, and he got into a box of matches. And he set them all off, the big boxes of matches. And he got scared, so he went and got back into bed. That's what happens to little kids when they, in a fire, they get scared, they go hide. Most children that die in fires do not burn, they get asphyxiated. They hide under stairways in different places because they're scared. That little baby is not aware of the dangers of fire. Oddly enough, developing awareness has taken a back seat to the development of the intellect. It really has. You'll find all kinds of people that are highly evolved intellect, very low level of awareness. A is aware of how B gets results. But B is not aware of how A gets results. Now this is absolutely insane when you think about it. B will not ask A in most cases. I remember I was working with Prue in Chicago way back in the 70s. They give out what's called the President's Trophy to one of anything. One senior vice president, one vice president of sales, one district manager, one sales manager, one salesperson. Only one person gets the President's Trophy. Ron Sempertrain was in that seminar. He had won the President's Trophy. He sold more insurance than anyone else in the entire company, and they had 20,000 salespeople. I asked Ron in the middle of the seminar, I said, Ron, how many people in the last year have invited you out for breakfast or lunch with a half a dozen well-prepared questions? Nobody. This was the very best guy in the whole. Nobody asked him what he was doing. You think, God, somebody must have. Nobody. He stood right up in front of all the people. Nobody. Why wouldn't they? Well, maybe they don't want to appear like they don't know. Little do they realize their results tell the whole world they don't know. Why do so many people get stuck and stay stuck? Well, it's paradigms. Lack of awareness. I was fortunate enough the guy that gave me this book, he was a very aware individual. I was not. I not only lacked awareness, I was really dumb. I had not gone to school. I'd gone to high school for 2 months, and I probably cheated to get that far. I hated school. I absolutely hated it. There was nothing about it I liked, especially the grades that they gave me. And he helped me clearly understand if I didn't know, ask. If you don't know, ask. I know people that don't know, the results indicate they don't know because they're not getting results. They don't ask. Say, why don't you ask for help? I don't know. I don't know. I am not at all reluctant to ask for help. I will go to people that do know. When I saw Bill Gove stand in the front of that room and I was in the back, I made up my mind right back there, I'm not only going to learn what you're doing, fella, but I'm going to get you to teach me. It's one of the biggest lessons some people have to learn. Troy Chadwick, who you see running around here with a camera somewhere, he gave me a gift yesterday. And I can hardly wait to use it. He gave me 3 LPs, long-playing records, mint condition, had not been used, of Bill Gove's. Bill's the guy who was standing that I made up my mind he was going to teach me. Bill and I became very, very good friends. I probably had these records at one time. I don't have them anymore, but now I've got these 3 records. And I got a couple of record players. I'm going to be listening to a lot of Billy Gove. Look here. Results. Results are nothing but the expression of your behavior, your actions. Your actions are an expression of what's going on in your subjective mind. What's going on in your subjective mind was probably planted there from your conscious mind. Now, why would anyone choose ideas that would produce results they don't want? Why would they do that? Why would we spend time thinking of stuff we don't want? You know, some people spend a lot of time thinking of what they don't want. A person is not thinking. They're not thinking. It's a habit. They're in the habit of thinking of why they can't do it, why it wouldn't work for them. A paradigm is nothing but a multitude of habits. That's really what a paradigm is. It is a multitude of habits. Now look here. There's the mind and the body. Where are we? This is an important lesson. We're over on page 48. Listen, I don't care what you do. I want you to pay really close attention to this. It's a simple thing. Anybody can understand it. But if you analyze the way you're living, you would think you don't understand this. You have these sensory factors, and there's a power that's flowing into your consciousness. It never stops. It's flowing in constantly. We build an image out of that. You can build any image you want. No one can cause you to not build images. We take and we impress that upon the subjective mind. Now, we also know that our mind, subjective mind, is a paradigm. Our body moves into action and produces a result. The image fixed in your subconscious mind controls your vibration, and your vibration controls what you attract. Your results are not what you've imagined. Person say, but I imagine it, I build the image, I see it. I've even made a written description of it. But your results don't match that image. Why? Well, the paradigm must be altered before your new image can move into form. Now think of this for a moment. Think of the number of people that, well, they just started to get into some kind of personal growth material, and they realized they got to build an image, and so they build the image. But it never happens. What the hell's the matter? I mean, I did what the book said, but it doesn't happen. Well, the paradigm controls the behavior. The paradigm controls the vibration you're in. The vibration you're in dictates the behavior, but it also dictates what you attract into your life. What are you attracting into your life? Are you getting all the breaks you need? Are you getting everything you want? Aren't you pretty good? Some of you are not. So let's take another look. We give you those little coins from the upside down. This person isn't working from the upside down. They're letting the present results control their thinking. So let's look again. Here's the senses. The power is flowing in. You build an image. Now, what did we say we needed? We said we needed understanding, didn't we? So we understand what? We understand that there's a power in our subconscious mind. It's called a paradigm. A paradigm is nothing but a multitude of habits that have been there for a long time, and they're taking control over us. Think of what you want, something really big that you want. Are you programmed for it? When you build that image, you've got to know that the paradigm's there, and you've got to get emotionally involved with the image. And that's not an easy thing to do because the paradigm is in control right now. You've got to take control. You've got to overpower the paradigm. Even though the paradigm's causing you to think you're never going to pull this off, who the hell do you think you are? You've tried it a dozen times, it never worked. Come on, kid, get honest with yourself for God's sake. This is the kind of thinking that goes on. You can override that. You literally got to get emotionally involved with it. I remember here in LA one time, a few years ago, I got this guy to stand up on the stage. No, he stood up on a chair somewhere on the side or in the back of the room and give his acceptance speech for winning an Oscar. And a few days later, he won the Oscar. Now, hold on. Here's the point. He had to override the paradigm. He had to visualize it and get emotionally involved in it. The image planted with emotion. You got to feel it. You got to get really emotional about it. You got to feel it inside. That changes the vibration the body's in. Now look at the image you impress upon your conscious mind or your subconscious mind controls your vibration, and your vibration controls what you attract. When you can see that everything operates on frequencies, everything, doesn't matter what it is, everything operates on frequency. When you do this, you're putting yourself on the frequency that you desire is on. And because you stay in that vibration, you start to attract it to you. People say things to you. Something, you'll see something, you'll read something in the paper. You saw a billboard that triggered an idea. It's a whole bunch of serendipitous little things that happen, and voila, you got it. You think, wow. It worked. It always works. I would give anybody odds, any odds you want. It's going to get dark tonight. That's a sure thing. That is such a big lesson. And I'm going to tell you something. Not many people understand it. There's your upside down and your inside out. Take another look at it. From the upside down and the inside out. Now, what are you talking about? We're talking about awareness. Your results are an expression of your level of awareness. If I'm starting to work with a person, one of the first things I ask them is what's the most they've ever earned in a year. I really don't care what the answer is, but I want to know what the answer is. 3 years ago, I asked Anders here what he'd earned in a year. And I thought maybe he was kidding me at first, but something in me said, no, he's not kidding. I said, God, I can show you how to earn that in a bad week. And I think you already have, haven't you? You see? What he said he earned in his good year, I showed him, and he's earned it in a week. Now, your results are an expression of your level. I don't care what you're in, but I want to know where your head's at if I'm just starting to work with you. I've got to know where your head is at. Now, your awareness is blocked by layers of virus code. My God, it's genetic, it's environmental, it's in the air. And it's results or limitations that virtually everybody you know accepts. Why? Because they're programmed to. Now let that dot there in the center represent your level of awareness. The little dot represents your level of awareness. Now, your awareness can expand to any level. As we start working, your awareness will attempt to expand. There's no end to where it can go. As it does, everything is going to start to change. We've got to know whatever we're doing now, it's small stuff relative to what we can do. Used to be I think a guy started to talk about it and then he wrote a book on it, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And the idea was don't sweat the small stuff, and everything's small stuff. That's what you want to do. You want to expand your level of awareness. You eliminate the darkness when you turn on the light. Let there be light. Let there be a higher degree of awareness. A person earning $100,000 a year don't earn 100 because they want 100. They're earning 100,000 a year because they're not aware of how to earn 100,000 a month. You see? Now think. Let there be light. Let there be a higher degree of awareness. See, this is all we're doing in the seminars, expanding your level of awareness. Do you agree, Veronica? Yeah. How do I expand my level of awareness? Well, the answer is actually pretty obvious. Effective education combined with professional coaching over a reasonable period of time will eliminate the virus code and expand a person's level of awareness. Effective education. A lot of education is not effective. If we don't get it into your subconscious mind, it's not going to be very effective. If you're just treating this intellectually, you're toast. It ain't going to happen. Now, think. It's a sad thing when we see a child that's afraid of the dark. I'll tell you something that's even sadder. It's when you see an adult that's afraid of the light. Yeah. There's no end to it. Everything we're seeking is seeking us. Spirit is always for expansion and fuller expression. Have you ever heard the saying, there's great rejoicing in heaven when one sinner is saved? How many have heard that? Yeah. Think. There is much rejoicing in heaven when one sinner is saved. Now, I think what we have to do first is get an understanding of what's a sinner. You know, I was told when I was a little kid, the price of sin was death. You hear that? I don't know about you, but I thought that was pretty severe. I thought, my God. And then I was told, if you say this, that's a sin. And if you do that, that's a sin. Now, I think I was always a curious guy. So I thought, I'm going to take a bite at this apple, and I sit it. And I didn't die. I thought, wow. Then I did it. And I thought, God, this is fun. I'm a sinner. I'm having a time of my life. You see? And you see, on the surface, it would sound like that's not a true statement. Do you want to know the truth? It's a very true statement. We have to understand what sin is. We have to understand what death is. Sin is transgression of the law. Now, everything in this universe is either growing or it's dying. It's create or disintegrate. Absolutely nothing stays where it is. We live in an ocean of motion. Everything's moving. Everything from your body to the wall. The body in a coffin is moving. And if it wasn't moving, how would it ever change to dust? You say, whoo, that's a big one. All right? Well, think. When you violate the law, you're going backwards. You try to get without giving, that's a sin. And you'll pay for it. You'll die. Just a little bit, but you'll die. When you live in harmony with the law, you willingly give and graciously receive. You're going the right direction. You think, well, this is so simple, isn't it, really, when you get it? But if you don't get it, you haven't got it, not too simple. And you know, you got to think, what do you really want? What do you want? What do you really want? You can have it. Doesn't matter what it is. Sandy Gallagher makes a great partner. She always wants so much more than she's got. There's no end to it. I want this, I want that. It's crazy. Ever satisfied with it? So you know what that causes? That causes me to stretch. Either bitch or stretch. Take your choice, Bob. That's where it's at. Everything you're seeking is seeking you. Spirit wants to express itself in a greater way. God works with and through you. God is an infinite power that operates in an orderly manner. And it wants to express itself in a greater way through you. Therefore, everything you're seeking is seeking you. You get on the right frequency and it's just going to come right at you. Awareness is all there is. There isn't anything else. That's all you'll ever get. That's all you ever need. People say, I wish I could get rid of this headache. If you were aware of what caused your headache, you can stop it. It's your head you make it ache, you can make it stop. If anybody here got a headache, I could get rid of their headache in about 12 seconds. Anybody got one? Where? You got a headache? Gotta get rid of your headache, for you. Hey, you really got a headache? You really do. You got one? Well, I can only do one at a time. Okay, relax. How you doing? Relax. Turn your chair around here a bit. Now, sit down. I want you to totally relax. Come on. Totally relax. Hey, you're not relaxed. Relax. Just relax. No, see, let it go. Just let it fall. Let it fall. I just want you to hear my voice. I want you to close your eyes. Forget there's anybody else in the room. There's just you and me. Just you and me. Totally relax. Totally relax. Just relax. Your headache's gone.
It is gone.
Now, what did I do? I helped him to get rid of his headache. He was tense. And so the blood, first of all, the brain is the greediest part of the body when it comes to blood. And so there was an excess of blood coming on the head, and it was up there and it was beating. I squeezed his head and pushed the blood back down into the body. Not all of it, the excess blood. The astronauts were taught to visualize that. Where you totally relaxed, and they visualized the arteries in the head like little tubes, and they're going back to a normal size. And the blood's rushing down, running down the body right into your hands. And they'd find the temperature in the fingers would jump up to 10 degrees, and the pressures leave the head. You had one too? Sit back and relax. There'll be a fee for the next one. Okay, relax. You're not relaxed. Come, relax. Loose. Feel yourself just become as loose as ashes. Forget there's anybody else here. It's just you and me. Forget everybody else. Just forget them, okay? Relax. God, you are tense. Come on. Relax. Relax. Headache's gone. I remember one time I was in Houston. We were doing a seminar in one of the ballrooms, and the seminar had ended, and I was leaving with whoever I was with. And we went in this little smoke shop, gift shop. And there was a girl in there that was obviously in a wedding. She had her, and she was with her mother. She said, I got to get something for my headache. I said, you don't have a headache. What the hell are you buying pills for? You don't need pills. The mother and her looked. I said, come here. And I did that to her head. Then I left. I said, it's gone. She said, Mom, my headache's gone. I would have been like Jesus. We don't even know who he was. He came in, the headache was gone. What did he do? He had magic hands. Why? They were ignorant. They got to come up with some kind of justification. So I was magic. Listen. Now, you all became aware of something just now. And they did get rid of their headache because it caused the blood to go back down into the body. It wasn't up there, boom, 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 you know? Awareness is all you ever have. If you want more money, you've got to become aware of how to earn it. If you want to earn more money, you've got to provide service to a greater degree than you're providing it. I spend all of my time, I only do one thing, this is it. I spend all of my time figuring out how can we earn more. I don't want it. We'll give it away. Give it to Cynthia. Where the hell did she go? There she is. We've given her millions of dollars. Money is a yardstick. It's an indication of how much service you render. That's really what you want to do. Figure out, how can I be a greater servant? The servant's the greatest of them all. You don't have to worry about what you're going to get. You decide what you're going to get, set the target, then go to work. Remember, Pascuzzi and I spent hours talking about this. He comes from a totally different place than I did, but we both knew how to earn money. And we became fascinated with it. He was earning it, and he wasn't quite sure what the hell he was doing, how he was called an unconscious company. I was earning it, but I knew exactly what I was doing. And so he was like a shadow everywhere I went. He was there. He wanted to learn more. He said, that's what I was doing. I was doing that. That's what I did. I did that. And whoosh, provide more service, help more people, do it in a greater way, do it more often, get better at what you're doing, become more aware. I just want to get better at doing what I'm doing. And I know how to do that. I just have to keep studying. I just have to keep studying the same thing. Do you know people that have been dead for a couple of thousand years? They can be more help to you than somebody that's alive and sitting beside you. Oh, yeah.